brand new officer, Haymaker, is here, and we are going to do the testing for him. Now, obviously, I haven't used helicopters in a very long time. Back in the day, I used to own a heli, and I honestly really enjoyed the heli, but obviously, over time, it got a bit of a useless unit. But let's just see if this new officer can make it have a little bit of a comeback. Now, as we do know recently, the helicopters did have a buff, and that is increasing the pen damage on them. We will be testing this today with the Vanguard units. We're going to be using the Vanguard heli, but maybe obviously we'll get a little bit of different results depending on the different heli, but that's obviously going to be down to your preference of the unit you want to use. So we have got on this first unit here, you can see I've got Haymaker with Lady Shadow, which is what everyone's believing the new free-to-play combination will be the best. We have got the previous one here, which is Rapier with Lady Shadow as well, which is also what most people have been saying is the previous best option. So we're going to do two attacks, okay, guys? We're going to do an attack starting with this one here, because as we know, when it comes to 1v1 fights, whoever starts the fight, as long as both officers are really, really good, or the same officers, for example, you can have identical officers, identical units, whoever starts the fight is going to win the fight. So, with that being said, we will obviously do the test with both people starting the fight to see if that makes a difference. So, here we go, guys. This is going to be the first one. We will start the fight here. We have got Haymaker Lady Shadow versus Rapier Lady Shadow. It's basically down to mostly crit build, but also the fact that we now have something called dodge on here, which hopefully is going to make a big difference. Now, as you just saw right there, guys, this unit only lost not even half of its units. Obviously, it's taken just under half of its HP. But overall, guys, I think that is kind of a clear distance on just how much better this unit is. So what we're going to do now is we are obviously going to go straight back in. We're going to repair them all, get them all back up and running, and we'll do another fight. Okay, so here we are, guys. We are now going to start the fight with the other account, and we're going to see just if it makes a big of a difference. As you search, that first burst came in and really strong, and I don't know, it does look like, obviously, before, it was a much different fight. So I'm telling you now, guys, it really does depend on who starts and initiates the fight. But with that being said, even though obviously the other account started the fight, it has managed to still do a lot more damage than what it was on the other attempt. So we will do both of these one more time for you just to triple check and to make sure that these sort of accurate reportings, and yeah, we'll be right back with you. So guys, just to make sure you guys are aware, I have now switched it around. I've got Rapier and Shadow here, and I've got Haymaker and Shadow there, just so that you guys can see that the units are identical. There's no different. We're gonna start the fight over here with this account, and then we'll do the same on that account over there, and we'll just kind of get a test to see, you know, as I mentioned, we kind of just want to show you that it depends on who starts the fight, depends on the outcome. But it does look this way around. I think this time, if you have noticed, even though we started with Rapier and that, I think before he didn't dodge as many like shots. So as we know, Haymaker does have the ability to dodge shots. So let's quickly find Haymaker in here. Now, in this one here, obviously, it does state that when you dodge, after the troop dodges, you do more critical strike. So, of course, once you get that critical strike, you then have to still hit the critical strike, obviously. So, it's kind of a coin flip. But at the same time, obviously, if you do dodge, you end up, you know, just doing more damage. So, what I feel like is, obviously, it's a 50% chance to dodge, right? So, maybe in that first attack, or the first time we attacked with Rapier, he didn't dodge as much, whereas with this attempt, he actually ended up dodging a lot more. Therefore, that's why we have a lot more of that unit left over. That's how I'm generally thinking of it. So again, it does come down to chance, right? It is a chance officer, but when it comes to crit, all crits are technically a chance anyway. So with that being said, we're going to do one more attack, like I mentioned. Let's jump into it. So here it is, guys, the final attack. We're going to be starting with Haymaker this time, and we're going to get the same result. Haymaker is definitely going to win. This is obviously from the free-to-play version. We are going to jump into some more paid versions. And to be honest, though, if you are a tank main, most people do have at least one tank officer from the lounge. Same with artillery, you know, especially if you've been around for quite a while now. If you're brand new to the game, obviously it's different. But overall, guys, I do believe that most people should have at least one lounge officer free to play. It takes about 1 year, 9 months. And, you know, if you're lucky, it could be quicker. If you're not so lucky, it can be about 2 years. But within 2 years of playing, 100% you should have at least one of your, you know, officers available for your tanks. So, as I mentioned, on this one, we are probably going to go with the infamous, and I think it's the most popular one right now. I believe it is Deset Jaeger with Lady Shadow as the strongest. I don't know why that didn't select him. So I do believe the current meta is technically Deset Jaeger with Lady Shadow, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's Deset Jaeger with still Pheonix. We will give them both a try, don't worry. But obviously, if you only have one, Lady Shadow is definitely by far going to be the top option. I don't know if maybe Rapier and Deset, again, we'll give that a try as well. Don't worry. There's not as many combinations there is when it comes to artillery and having multiple units attacking at a base. We'll go through with all of those. And again, we are going to be attacking with the current free-to-play meta, which would be obviously Haymaker with Lady Shadow. So we're going to be doing Jaeger and Lady Shadow versus Haymaker and Lady Shadow, just to see kind of what it's going to be like if you don't have a lounge officer yet. And then again, we'll do another attack after that where it's Pheonix and Lady Shadow, because again, a lot of people have Pheonix. Like my old account has Pheonix, it doesn't have Jaeger, because, you know, it takes time to get them, as we said. So let's jump into that first attack. So here we are, guys. We're going to attack first with Deset Jaeger and Shadow. This is against, obviously, Haymaker and Shadow. We're just going to see how much of a difference this can really make. Now, honestly, so far, it does look like the new combo is beating the old combo. I'm wondering, guys, if... Oh, my days. This guy might actually be the new meta. I genuinely am kind of shocked that I was honestly thinking that Jaeger might actually just destroy this other heli, but it turns out that that was actually crazy. So what I'm wondering is, at the end of this, I'm going to do another sort of test to see who's better, whether it will be Deset Jaeger with Pheonix, or, for example, Deset Jaeger and maybe the new Haymaker. I mean, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. So let's heal up and do the next one. Okay, so I feel like, guys, we don't even need to do this attack. But again, we are going to be starting to fight now from the other side. So yeah, I just think it's kind of crazy, especially if, obviously, Haymaker does dodge. He ends up doing just so much damage. It is unreal, because he's just not taking damage, and his crit is just building and building and building. And as we can tell from here, guys, I think that so far we don't even need to test any other combinations. We're just going to go now straight into the strongest combination. So I'm actually going to keep on Haymaker on this account, just so you guys can see him. We're going to have Haymaker with Shadow, and then on the other account, guys, we're going to use the old kind of the best option there was before, which would have been obviously Deset Jaeger with Pheonix. Now, I don't know if Deset Jaeger and Pheonix was better than Deset Jaeger and Shadow. I would assume it is, but again, I haven't used tanks in a very long time. I'm just going off of what other people have spoke about. So yeah, let's quickly jump in. We're going to give that combination a go, see how well it does. So right at the end, guys, obviously we are going to do Pheonix with Haymaker. We are going to do Haymaker with Jaeger. We're going to try obviously the biggest of options and just see if this Haymaker is better than all of those previous sort of, even the pay to win ones, which so far it does seem like he is better. So again, let's jump into the next fight. So here it is, guys. We have got, as I mentioned, we have got Haymaker with Lady Shadow, and that is going to be going up against Jaeger and Pheonix. Now, I don't know if you need Jaeger first or Pheonix first, but we will try both. But let's have a look just to see how good this new combination is. Remember, we've got 2 free-to-play officers versus 2 of the newest pay-to-win officers. And so far, guys, wow. Now, again, guys, this is the first attack. We do need to take that into consideration. We do need to do another attack, obviously making sure that when it attacks from the other side, maybe, you know, there will be a different outcome. So let's jump straight into that second attack. So here it is, guys. We're starting with Jaeger and Pheonix and seeing if there is a bit of a different outcome. Obviously, straight off the rip, they did get that first shot in, but is it enough? I just don't think it is. The dodges that seems to be coming out is, although it is 50-50, guys, this new officer seems to be extremely not OP, but potentially OP is what I would assume. Now, guys, obviously we are testing this, by the way, on a helicopter because he is main on a heli. Let me know, would you like to see some tests coming in? You know what I'm going to do, actually? Instead of letting me know, I'm going to test him on, for example, the light tank. I'm also going to test him on the MB, but we are only going to test him with whatever we find out to be sort of the best option and available. So we'll obviously do the free-to-play option, which is going to be what we're currently running, which is obviously him and Lady Shadow. But then we're also going to go up against, you know, some of the other options available. We'll find out to survive the longest against obviously all of these different combinations. So with that being said, it has just been proven that this guy with obviously Shadow is so much better than the two previous most best options. So I'm actually curious now. We are now going to pair the new Haymaker with this guy and just see how much of a difference it makes compared to pairing him against Pheonix. So we're going to do the same pair again. We're going to do Jaeger with Haymaker, and we're going to do Jaeger with Pheonix, and just see how much of a difference it really makes. We'll do 2 attacks, 1 starting from each, the same way we've all been doing it. Let's jump into that. Okay, guys, so here it is, the first attack. We are going to be doing Jaeger with, obviously, Haymaker, and then we're going to be doing Jaeger versus Pheonix. And, of course, straight off the rip, though, it does actually seem to me that the Haymaker and Lady Shadow actually worked better. That's kind of crazy to see that Shadow is also better. That is actually blowing my mind here, guys. Wow, what a close battle. So, from what I can tell, guys, Haymaker and Shadow is better than Pheonix and Jaeger, and honestly that actually is kind of impressive to me, if I'm going to be honest with you. So with this new information, I'm wondering, is Lady Shadow obviously the one that is also better than, you know, both Jaeger and Pheonix? And I generally don't know the answer to that because I've said I don't use them that often, but I do know how good Lady Shadow is, but I just didn't realize that she's better than pretty much all of the previous pay-to-win officers, which is kind of interesting and cool to see. So again, we're going to be doing that attack one more time. Let's jump into round 2. So here it is, test 2, guys. We're going to be starting and initiating the fight using Jaeger and Pheonix and see if that makes a difference. Now, after this attack, I do want to quickly backtrack, and I do want to try Madam Havok and Shadow, because as many people are saying, Madam Havok and Shadow is also a very good combination. And obviously, we've gone down the crit strike here. We can tell in both situations, obviously, here, that I just don't see a point in getting any other option right now than Haymaker and Lady Shadow. That is currently the best combination. So I do want to quickly test what the difference would be if we had, as we know, Haymaker and Lady Shadow destroyed Pheonix and Jaeger. So I do want to try, obviously, the old school combination that a lot of people are telling me, which is actually Madam Havok and Lady Shadow. I do want to give this one a quick try as well, just to see if that is going to be a good option. We already know that it's a very strong combination, but I'm just curious to see how good it is compared to in this situation. We just done Haymaker with Shadow, so now I kind of want to try to see how much of a difference it is when it's Madam Havok and Shadow instead. This is just going to be sort of bandwidth test to kind of see how much stronger this new guy really is, because as we saw, I'm going to do it again versus the same previous 2 exclusive lounge. We are going to be doing it against Jaeger and Pheonix. We already know that Haymaker and Shadow destroyed it, so let's give this a try. Okay, guys, so this is going to be Havok and Shadow versus Jaeger and Pheonix. Now, honestly, I do think that Jaeger and Pheonix are going to win this, but it's just curious to see how much better this new officer is going to be. And yeah, I mean, we don't need to retest that. We can clearly see just how much better that combination was. So I do want to do one more combination for you guys just to see it in action. We are going to do, for example here, we're going to do the brand new guy Haymaker, and we are going to pair him with Lady Shadow the same way we've been doing it all along. And we're going to be fighting Madam Havok and Shadow. Just one last test just to kind of see how obviously that is going to play out. I'm curious because we already know how strong this new officer is. We are going to give the advantage actually to the Madam Havok option. We're going to start the fight with Madam Havok and Lady Shadow and see if even with them starting the fight, if they have a chance to even actually come through and get the win. So I'm pairing these up now. let's get this ready to fight, and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so here it is, guys, the final test with the helicopter. We are going to start and initiate the fight with Madam Havoc and Lady Shadow versus the new option, which is obviously Haymaker and Lady Shadow, and just see how much of a difference this new officer makes. And as you can see on the helicopter already, I mean, it's outstanding that Haymaker and Shadow has won every single battle in every single option. It is by far the new best helicopter option if you are wanting to use a heli. But now let's jump into some other units. Obviously, we are going to be talking about the MB and the light tank. We're going to do just a couple of options here. We'll see how it goes. So this first attack, guys, is going to be the new Haymaker with Lady Shadow. We're going to do it identical to before. Now, I believe free to play, the best option before was obviously Madam Havoc with Lady Shadow. So we're going to start the fight with Madam Havoc, Lady Shadow, and just see how this one does. Now, again, I'm really excited to see when it comes to still Pheonix and when it comes to Jaeger on the light tank, if the new officer can keep up with that. Now, if you see here, guys, it does look like the skill damage from these two is actually managing to keep up on the MB. So on the heli, it does make a big difference because he has a lot more chance to dodge. So I think that that is something to keep in mind. Now, if you are using a helicopter, he is definitely going to be a helicopter option. With that being said, we've just noticed a big difference. So we're going to obviously do one more attack here. We're going to just see if there is a big difference or not when it comes to starting with him. It does come down to a lot of different factors. But with that being said, he's actually lost his first fight all night. But again, he isn't on the helicopter, which is what he's technically designed for, even though he works on all of them perfectly well. Okay, guys, so here it is, test 2. We are going to start and initiate the fight now with the new Haymaker and see if that makes a bit of a difference. Now, again, it does look like he's getting a few more dodges in this time around, but is it enough to keep him winning the fight? Obviously, it is a bit of a closer battle with it being on a MB, as he does lose out on 15% dodge chance, which, again, that's still a decent amount if I'm honest with you. But once again, guys, we have seen him finally win, but he did start the fight. So, as I mentioned, guys, when it comes to the MB, maybe not so much. It's not so bad having it. We will do one more, and we're going to do one more fight with Madam Havoc starting the actual fight, just to see if maybe that first time he lost, he might have just not had any dodges come through. Again, it's all about chance, whether you hit the crit, whether you don't hit the crit, whether you hit the dodge, whether you don't hit the dodge. So, like, there's a lot of factors to take into account when it comes to these testings, and it's honestly one of the main reasons that testing with tanks is not my favorite thing to do, because there's so many variables that come into it. So, let's jump into the last test with the MB. So, here is, guys, the final attack. We are going to once again start with Madam Havoc and Lady Shadow and see if it makes a difference. To be honest with you, I think in that first attack where he lost, he maybe just didn't hit any of them dodges, but even then it was still a very close fight. So I think that overall, guys, on an average basis, as we can tell, as long as he's hitting at least 1, 2, 3 dodges and that crit's building up, he is definitely going to be the option you want. I would say, guys, if you are a tank main, obviously, you're probably going to get him regardless, even if he was just average or as good as the previous, because we still need more. But honestly, this new officer seems to be crazy. So now what we're going to do, guys, is we're actually going to jump onto the light tank. I'm not going to do any more MB tests, because we could go through every single combination with every single unit. We've already done it with the heli, which is what he is main for. So now we're going to go through and do it on the next unit. So let's jump in. So here we are, guys. We've now got the light tank, and we're going to go with the new Haymaker and Lady Shadow versus Rapier and Lady Shadow, which before was one of the best free-to-play options. We're going to start the fight with the new option, and then we'll do it again, obviously, starting with Rapier on the second. Now, as we know, the Rapier is a very crit-based officer, and so far, it's seeming rather sort of a fair fight here, if I'm honest, and that was with the new guy starting the fight. Now, maybe, again, he just hasn't hit any dodges. Maybe he hasn't built that crit up to the amount he could have. We don't know, obviously, the full option. But we are obviously, as I mentioned, going to do this again, and we're going to start the fight with Rapier, and then depending on who wins that outcome, we'll then decide to do one third and final test. So let's jump into number 2. Okay, guys, so here it is. We are going to initiate the fight with Rapier this time and see if there is a big difference. Honestly, I'm really going to be surprised to see, you know, the light tank is definitely kind of crazy when it comes to crit strikes. Wow. I mean, it's pretty obvious that someone hit a lot of dodges and increased that crit exponentially during that fight right there. That was outstanding. That was crazy strong. So I honestly think that we already know the answer, guys. It's just whether or not he manages to hit or whether he doesn't hit, you know, those crits. Now, we're going to jump straight in, guys. We're going to go in for the big guns now. We're going to just put it straight to the test. We're going to do Haymaker and Lady Shadow versus 2 exclusive lounge officers. We are going to do Pheonix and Jaeger, both on this other option here. And I'm going to be surprised at the outcome here. So we will start with the new guy here. So let's just have a look to see. Yeah, there's so much crit coming from that other light tank there. I don't know. Maybe he's just not getting any dodges coming in. As we can see right there, that was a big difference. So he could potentially still be reigning champion. So we're going to do this attack one more time with that pair. Okay, so here it is. As mentioned, guys, we are going to do this attack again. We're going to see whether or not Haymaker stands a chance against this. Maybe he just didn't activate any of those dodges, meaning he didn't activate any of that extra build up in crit. Let's try again, see if maybe this time he does manage to, you know, dodge some of those shots coming in. And again, guys, it does look like he is managing to hit. Yeah, guys, it's just down to whether or not he manages to hit those crits, if I'm honest with you. Not necessarily the crits, but it's like a double. It's literally a double bluff with this officer. He's not only got to hit a dodge to then get the bonus crit chance, but he's then got to actually hit a crit. So before, you know, the crit build has always been crazy, because if you hit a crit, you're going to do crazy damage. But if you don't hit the crit, there's a good chance you're going to miss out on a lot of damage. Whereas this is like a double. So honestly, I'm not surprised. I kind of understood that this was going to be the case. But at the same time, he's very strong when he does hit it. But when he doesn't hit it, he's still decent. Like, he's still a decent officer, even if he doesn't hit any of them dodges. He manages to keep himself somewhat sustained in the battle. So here it is, guys. The new combo, we've got Jaeger with Haymaker versus Jaeger with Pheonix. Is this going to be better or worse than what we had before? So let's jump in and try it out. We're going to be starting the battle here with Jaeger and Haymaker, and we're just going to see really how much of a difference it's going to make. So far, it has absolutely destroyed it. We're going to do another test again, obviously. This time, start with the other light tank, and we'll go through. So here it is, guys. We are going to initiate the fight with Jaeger and still Pheonix. And of course, we're going to be going against the Jaeger and Haymaker. And even with Jaeger and still Pheonix starting the fight, they're still losing. Guys, this new Haymaker is officially better than the paid options. So there it is, guys. The testing is over. I don't know, maybe you would like to have seen more or different officer combinations. I've gone for the most popular free-to-play versus as well with the most popular pay-to-win options. I didn't include things like Wanderlust and stuff. I potentially could have, but again, let me know if that's something you really want to see. I don't think it's necessary. There's so many options, especially if you are a tank main. If you do have, for example, Wanderlust, you'd probably end up using Wanderlust on your MB with another option, and then you would still use whether it be Haymaker on the light tank or the heli with another option. So there's definitely loads of combinations out there I could have done, but I've done the main ones that you guys, technically I asked in the Discord, not only my Discord, but the Warpath official Discord, what you guys think these combos should be. And I've tested them for you. So I hope this has obviously helped you understand just how insanely good, and for once I can say OP, the new officer is when it comes to the tanks. I hope you guys enjoy him. Let me know if you're going to be getting him down below in the comments. If you haven't already done so, please think about hitting the like button, sharing this out to the rest of your alliance and potentially your server. And hopefully I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.